Live at 6. If you love the heat, it's here. If it's a problem, you're going to need to find ways to stay cool.
Some Fargo parents feel it's time for a change on the school board. They're looking at taking a serious step to do so.
And how important is this project to stabilizing the Red River? Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
With the 100-degree temps in the forecast, we're excited to be open and anticipating a busy weekend.
You're looking at what could be the most popular place in the FM Metro. Today, Veterans Memorial Pool became the first to open locally, much to the joy of kids of all ages.
The heat is on, and it's going to be that way for the next several days, so we're all going to have to find places to keep our cool, whether it's a run through a sprinkler, staying inside with the fan, or air conditioning. It's going to be imperative that we protect ourselves.
Right now, our temps are in the mid to upper 80s and will be that way for a couple of hours.
So let's go to Hutch to find out when temps will be cooling off. Hutch?
Thanks, you two. As we head into the evening hours, it does look like after sunset will be our best chance, as we still, after hitting 90 degrees today in Morehead and in Fargo, we're at 86, 85 Jamestown, 82 up in Roseau, and 83 right now for Babe the Blue Ox in Bemidji. Passing clouds, no showers as of yet, but we cannot rule a couple of those out overnight, mainly in Minnesota. Here's when things cool off after sunset, 73 degrees with a west wind that'll taper off with setting sun as well. Friday and Saturday, first alert weather days have been declared for near 100-degree heat for many. 100 degrees doesn't happen often, but here's a couple of things to keep in mind. Heat exhaustion. Well, you get out, you feel that lightheadedness, you're sweating profusely. It's time. Your body's telling you need to cool off. Even getting in the shade can drop 15 degrees from the temperature in direct sunlight. Now, if you notice that you stop sweating or your core temperature rises above 102 to 103 degrees, it is extremely dangerous. We'll have details more on this, safety, and of course, that planning forecast, which does indeed look hot, as you alluded to.
And I think you'll be giving us those tips for about, the next 6 days or so?
Exactly.
All right, thanks.
As temperatures continue to climb the next few days, concerns over heat-related illnesses rise as well. Heat is the #1 weather-related cause of death most years in the U.S. Many families will be outside enjoying the sunny weather, and parents can take steps to be prepared for those long periods of time outdoors.
The best thing to do is to watch your children to make sure that they have oral intake, that they are rehydrating properly to make sure that they don't go past that threshold of heat exhaustion to heat stroke.
Our meteorologists advise you to stay hydrated, use air conditioning, and limit your time outside.
We are not being heard, and they are not communicating with us, and when they are communicating with us, they're lying to us.
Enough is what Fargo school parents are saying tonight. Several have banded together to recall school board members.
Of the board's 9 members, 4 are eligible for recall this year, including Dr. Tracy Newman, Jim Johnson, Seth Holden, and Nikki Gullickson. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley spoke with some of those parents today who say it's time to press the reset button and put students first.
We need somebody different that is going to actually be a voice and a representation of the constituents and the overall community.
Parents say their frustration with the Fargo Public School Board boils down to one thing.
They aren't engaging with our teachers. They aren't engaging with us as parents.
I've emailed the superintendent, I've emailed school board members, and I never get a response back. I have yet to get a single response back.
Saying their concerns voiced to the school board have varied from distance learning, mask mandates, and school boundary lines.
It makes absolutely no sense. We voted them into this position, and they just have absolutely no regard for our concerns.
The committee which put the recall together says they expect to get the petitions back from the Secretary of State early next week and will start their grassroots efforts to get 4,500 signatures per each board member within 30 days.
All signatures absolutely have to be in person.
Once signatures are collected and validated, a special election will be called, with parents saying they hope more current or former FPS parents fill some of those empty seats.
I feel like if you're going to serve on this board, you should have a vested interest in the decisions that you're making.
I hope there are people that have not lost perspective, that are willing to weigh out all the risks and the benefits of all the choices that are being made.
All 3 women calling for parents across the district to not be afraid to stand up and speak out for what's right.
This is not a game of politics that they just get to play, and our kids are the ones that get to suffer.
In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
In a statement to Valley News Live, Fargo Public School Board President Rebecca Knutson says in part, quote, "That is the right of the voters as spelled out in North Dakota's Century Code. The process of a recall is separate from the official work of the board. It is not appropriate for me to make comments on behalf of the board on individual members other than to say I value every board member that is currently serving." You can find her full statement on our VNL News app. Just click on this story.
A Fargo man was sentenced to more than 4 years in federal prison for his role in a violent robbery. In 2019, Shelton Lee Mosby IV was one of several people who robbed customers of commercial sex. They posted ads to promote prostitution with women. Then the defendants used weapons and even beat those who they believed wouldn't go to law enforcement if they were robbed. Mosby was also sentenced to 3 years of supervised release and was ordered to pay $100 in special assessment fees.
Prosecutors are asking for a judge for more time to prepare for the federal trial of 4 former police officers facing civil rights charges in George Floyd's death. Derek Chauvin, Thomas Lane, Jay King, and Tu Tao are accused of violating Floyd's rights as Floyd was restrained, face down, handcuffed, and not resisting. Prosecutors want more time, calling the case unusual and complex, due in part to the sheer volume of evidence. Chauvin is also charged in a separate incident, alleging he violated the rights of a 14-year-old boy in 2017. Meanwhile, the defense attorney for Derek Chauvin has requested probation or alternatively a lesser sentence for his client. Sentencing guidelines call for a minimum of 12.5 years in prison, but he may now be sentenced to up to 40 years due to those aggravated factors. Chauvin's attorney cites Chauvin's age, criminal history, level of cooperation and attitude in court, and support of the community as factors supporting a probationary sentence.
North Dakota has entered into a partnership to establish a world-class clean hydrogen hub in the state. The agreement with Bakken Energy and Mitsubishi Power Americas will consist of facilities that produce, store, transport, and consume clean hydrogen, a carbon-free fuel and energy carrier. Those two groups will be working with Basin Electric on the potential acquisition and redevelopment of the Great Plains Synfuels plant near Beulah. Specific details on that deal remain confidential at this time.
Ground was broken this morning, marking the beginning of work on a new high school for Morehead. A bond referendum that was passed in 2019 will fund the $110 million project, which includes rebuilding Morehead High School on the existing site and creating a career academy at the former Sam's Club building. The current high school was built in the 60s. The new facility has a capacity of 2,100 students and focuses on natural light, small learning communities, collaborative spaces, and technology. The project includes a gym that seats 3,000 people, a 1,000-seat theater, and a pool with room for 300 spectators. The academic portion of this building is scheduled to be open in the 2023-2024 school year, and the entire building will be open the following year. The Career Academy is set to open this fall.
While we wait for the 2020 Tokyo Games to begin, there's another event slated for Fargo that will cause a little traffic inconvenience. The 1800 block of 17th Avenue South in Fargo to 25th Street South will temporarily be closed tomorrow, starting at 6:30 in the evening for the Special Olympics of North Dakota Law Enforcement Torch Run. Law enforcement are crossing the state as they raise awareness about Special Olympics North Dakota and its law enforcement partnership.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, no shortage of silly string today. Why these kids earned the right to let it fly.
And record heat is around the corner. Here are a look at record highs for both Grand Forks and Fargo. Many of these records are set to fall as we go through the weekend. Remember, inside your car, just how hot it gets in time. There's some numbers for you, and I'll have your hour-by-hour forecast coming up right after this.